Let's give it up for our candidates that chose to participate tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're all here tonight for similar reasons, but the chief of those reasons is that our country is in crisis. And it's going to take brave patriots like each and every one of you in this room to stand up, hold the line, so we can evict Joe Biden from the White House and elect Donald J. Trump in November. The way we do that is with each and every one of you. So we ask you, if you are not a member of our organization, we have a membership table at the entrance. We ask that you become a member of our party. In 2022, our organization made history by electing Republicans all across the county, but chief among those accomplishments was being the only county in the Low Country and one of the only counties in South Carolina where every elected official is now a Republican. That was because of our efforts. So we ask you to join the fight. Join our team. You can learn more about all of our events at DorchesterCountyRepublicanParty.com. Without further ado, let's turn it over to our candidates for sheriff, Mike Turner and Sam Richardson.
Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Real quick rundown of the rules again. You'll have each having a 2-minute opening statement. You'll have 3 minutes to answer. You have 2 rebuttals of 2 minutes each and a 1-minute closing statement. Also, I've been asked to remind you of the color-coded time cards. But 1 minute is yellow, or green is 1 minute. Yellow is 30 seconds, red is stop. Just like the traffic light there. So, but I have the first question. It goes, opening statements. Mr. Richardson, you go first. All right.
I'm Sam Richardson. I'm running for sheriff. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Tara, and my lovely daughters, and a lot of my family and friends, and a lot of sheriff's deputies here support me. My core beliefs are God, family, and everything else. I'm getting my platform. I want to modernize our investigative techniques. I want to take that and modernize our patrol, our investigations, our forensics. Want to use that in terms of our detention center, our schools. The second thing I want to do is I want to take our patrol construct and redefine it. I want to put more people on the streets protecting your neighborhoods and your businesses. In that construct, number 3, I want to take people in the office and put them on the streets protecting your homes and your businesses. And also do this in cooperation with intelligence-led policing and community policing. Last but certainly not least, I want to keep violent offenders in jail. I want to do this in collaboration with our solicitor's office, our legislative delegation, our schools, and our county government. I've worked hard to be in this position to have the opportunity to run for sheriff. I have been through a lot of different events to qualify for this, and I feel that I'm the best candidate for the job, and I appreciate your vote on June 11th. Thank you very much.
Mr. Turner, 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Turner. I'm running for sheriff of Dorchester County, and I can tell you why I'm running for Dorchester County Sheriff, because the county definitely needs enforcement. I will start off by saying my platform consists of 3 topics: community-oriented policing, transparency, and treating the citizens with dignity and respect. I'll go back to the first point. First point is community-oriented policing is the only policing model that works. It drives down violent crime, it improves citizen satisfaction with law enforcement, and it allows the officers to take pride and they enjoy their job. That's the first reason we do that. Does it work? Yes, it does. For those of you old enough to remember the 70s and 80s, crime in the United States was through the roof. What happened? Community-oriented policing. It was pushed by the Department of Justice. It was pushed on every agency that would take their grants. I was at Somerville PD when we started community-oriented policing. Crack cocaine had just hit the Low Country. It devastated our communities. By the time I went to the sheriff's office, the crime rate in Dorchester County had dropped. Somerville's crime rate had dropped. We did the same thing at Dorchester County Sheriff's Office when I was there. So that's community-oriented policing. The only way that works is to fill every open spot in the sheriff's office that is currently funded by county council. That has not happened. It has not happened in a long time. And I will continue to ask, how many openings are there? How short is the sheriff's office, and how long has it been like this? Transparency. My name is on the sign. Martin Pancho Villa, who's standing in this crowd somewhere, who is a retired captain from the Dorchester County Sheriff's Office, a decorated captain, is on my sign as well, because I believe in transparency. I will ask my opponent, who's your chief deputy going to be? He can answer, he can not answer, but you know who mine's going to be. Finally, treating people with dignity and respect. Too many times I hear from citizens that they're not being treated that way. They can't get someone to take a report, take the call, and when they do show up, they don't treat them very well. Mike Turner, thank you.
All right, first question goes to you, Mr. Turner. How does your experience better qualify you over your opponent to hold the office of sheriff and oversee a department of more than 300 people?
Well, excuse me, I about choked on the water. My experience is very broad-based. I started off as a patrol officer in Somerville. I worked my way up through the ranks. I was promoted to assistant chief. I stayed there. At the time, my former chief got elected sheriff, asked me to come run the operations side of the sheriff's office. I ran everything but the jail. For a while, I ran dispatch. That was not my calling, but obviously it's not the sheriff's office calling now because they're completely separated. But I ran all the enforcement operations. I ran the interdiction teams on the interstate. I ran the SRO program. I actually started the SRO program at DuBose Middle School. My experience is very broad-based. After Ray didn't run for re-election, I went to the school district for 10 years. I know our schools inside and out. I put the cameras in, I put the door access controls in. I added to them when I was there under the administration. I understand what it takes to protect our kids in school. Mine is very broad-based. I am currently the chief of an agency right now. I've been there going on 6 years. I understand the budgeting process from a small agency. I understand the budgeting process of a large agency. I have a master's degree in business administration. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I'm a graduate of the FBI Academy. The size of an agency doesn't matter. What matters is the relationships with the people. And if you can't have a full agency, it's very hard to do anything that any agency head wants to do. First thing I will do is recruit. If you elect me as your sheriff, day one, on swearing in, that agency will be completely staffed with highly qualified officers. Don't get me wrong, they're all over the low country. They live in our county. They want to work here. Now you ask, why don't they? There's a variety of reasons. There's a lot of former deputies in this room that are my supporters that probably won't make any noise tonight, but they came to see. They know they have a decision to make on which way this county is going to go. Is it going to go the way it's gone for the past 16 years, or are we going to move forward? The reason I'm the best candidate for this job is I have a very broad-based law enforcement experience, and it doesn't matter if it's the jail or the operations of law enforcement. I can essentially day one take it on. When someone says you don't have the experience to do it, I beg to differ. I got 34 years of experience. Thank you.
So to answer my opponent, we have 8 openings right now with applications to fill 4 of them right now. And I've got some of my staff members and they'll verify that. So that's transparency right there. I've been the chief deputy sheriff for the past 15 and a half years. And I've had to deal with Sheriff Cannon in Charleston County on serious issues, through your storms, through your earthquakes. I've had to deal with the schools. We've had issues there with Dr. Robbins. I've had to coordinate training events. I've had to do things in St. George at the county line with Sheriff Ravenel, with Sheriff Lewis. Those sheriffs know me well, not just by casual contact, through reputation and hard work. I am qualified. I am a retired lieutenant colonel. I've had 4 commands. I've been chosen against my peers from all over the country. Anybody here that's been in that situation knows you're selected, and you're selected from the best and the best. I am also a God-loving man, and I have sympathy and empathy for my citizens here in Dorchester County. I'm born and raised here. I'm a Somerville High graduate, I played for Coach McKissick. I love this community. I started patrolling these streets as a deputy sheriff, not for the city of Somerville, for Dorchester County. I know civil process. I know the jail. I've been in the chain of command at every aspect of the sheriff's office. We have stayed within our budget. We've been physically responsible. My opponent can't say the same when their administration was there. They were over budget every year. But we've taken your money, your budget, and been responsible with it and gave you good law enforcement. Whether people like it or not, in terms of violent crime, we are the fourth safest county in the state. That's a fact. We are accredited for the first time in the agency's history. In 2016, we became an accredited agency. I'm proud of that. That came under our watch with hard work, adhering to the strictest policies and regulations. We've done that. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson, outgoing Sheriff Knight has been Dorchester County's longest serving sheriff. What do you believe that he has done right during his tenure, and what are some things that as sheriff you would do differently?
Actually, his dad was. His dad Carl was. He's number two, though. Well, let me tell you, he's accomplished a lot of good things. I go back to that information I just put out. Fourth safest county in the state. But I want you to go and do your research. Don't buy anything I'm telling you. Go to the FBI website, research what I'm telling you. Since 2010, since the sheriff took office, we have had a downward trend in our crime. Downward trend. But research me. I don't have any smoke and mirrors. I'm telling you facts. I want you to research what I'm telling you. So my men are here to support me because they're proud of what we've done, and they work hard. And yes, there are some deputies here that are with Mike, but there are some reasons why they're here, and I won't get into that. But the deputies that adhere to my vision, they're here supporting me and what I want to do. And they know where I'm going to take this county and where we could go. And I'm really proud of that. I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Mr. Turner, would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
So, what do you believe that Sheriff Knight has done right during his tenure, and what are some things that as sheriff you would do differently?
Well, I can tell you this. A new jail was badly needed, and he pushed that through. He pushed it through with county council, and for that I can't give him enough kudos. That being said, that jail doesn't have enough staffing. How many openings do we have there? My point is the crime rate that he's touting was from 2022. We had just come out of COVID. If you read the national news right now, most agencies aren't appropriately coding crimes for the downward trend. The downward trend has gone across the country. It is the lowest it's been in 50 years, as is the lowest reporting. So pick up your national news, scour that, and see what's being reported, what's not being reported. I'm being told by citizens that reports aren't being taken, action is not being taken, and that's a frustration on their part. I will do something completely different. My thing is that when you get dispatched to a call, if there's an allegation of a crime, you take the report, you follow up on it. If it leads nowhere, it leads nowhere. You file it appropriately of the proper codes. He's right, go to the FBI website. You can tell it's a downward trend, but it's a downward trend across the country because, as they say, NIBRS is difficult for agencies to use, so they don't actually use the appropriate coding. Fortunately, South Carolina's used it for a while, so there's no excuse for anybody in South Carolina not to use SkyVerse correctly, which is the state reporting, incident-based reporting program that we all use. So do your research, but do your research nationally, because the trend is not just here, it is across the country. But if you want to talk about trends, a week ago, 3 blocks down from Somerville High School, daytime shooting. Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday? Daytime robbery, and I realized that Walmart is in the city of North Charleston, but it is in Dorchester County. Daytime crime that we hadn't seen before is on the rise. If you don't believe it, you're not paying attention. You're not watching what's going on. The numbers always lag, minimum 2 years behind. And that was when we were coming out of COVID, and let's just be honest. They were taking a lot of reports by phone. They were only responding to violent crimes. They continue to take reports by phone, which is not acceptable. That would not be done. It's one thing to have a duty officer when somebody comes in It's something else when a citizen calls, you go to that house, you answer that call, you give them the time, you invest in that time, so you build a trust-based relationship, so they trust you. They know you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do when you show up. So that's what I would do differently.
Sir, can I have a rebuttal?
Absolutely, you have 2 minutes.
All right. So it's easy for Mike to sit at the Citadel where he's fenced in, and I believe, people have limited access and they kind of keep cadets from going in and out. So that's a different world. It's not the same animals we're dealing with. I'm gonna give you some numbers here. Mike was hired in 2018, I believe, and from his reporting, they've had 176 incidents over 5 years. Now I'm gonna give you a comparison. In that particular time period, we've had 1,489 reports, all right? So night and day difference, okay? What he's seeing, it's easy for him to sit there at the Citadel and cherry pick what we're doing and what we've done. He's not experiencing the same thing. Whenever, I'm gonna give you some other numbers. At openings, Charleston County Sheriff's Office, 25 openings. Charleston's PD, 25 openings. North Charleston PD, 55 openings. Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, talking with them, anywhere from 8 to 10 openings. Somerville PD, 8 openings. We have 8 openings, with 4 in the process of being hired. The paradigm from law enforcement has changed. If you're in conventional law enforcement, which he is not. Conventional law enforcement has changed. Law enforcement changes every day, every year. If I'm going to give you an idea, 16 years he's been out of conventional law enforcement. You take a person 16 years, he's driving now. If I don't stay on the edge with law enforcement, in 16 years, I'm lost. I'm not even resembling a law enforcement agency around here. You have to stay up with the latest trends and techniques in law enforcement. There are no theories here. I have results. And if you're gonna take a bet, you bet with the results, not theories. All right? Thank you, everybody.
A rebut of the rebut. I don't work in a gated community. It's not Kiowa. We are a public college in the state of South Carolina. It's open to every person to come on campus. You're right. We don't have a lot because we don't tolerate a lot. We do take people to jail. We charge them with crimes. We are in an urban environment. We are in downtown Charleston, okay? So we see everything the city sees that comes across their campus. We have fentanyl issues. We have homeless issues. We have mental health issues. Everybody is allowed on our campus. This is not a DOD facility. We're a state college where everyone is welcome. For any of you that have been on a state college campus, you understand you can come and go as you please. Some kids now do all sorts of things on open campuses. But we have the same issues. I don't think you realize that I'm a state officer, that I have the full arrest powers of every other police officer in the state of South Carolina. We deal with the same issues. And when I say that, if you're not familiar with downtown Charleston, drive down, get out and walk and see what you see. You see the same issues you will see in any city in the United States. So I do beg to differ. I haven't been out of it. But if you want to talk about being out, you spent 12 years at the solicitor's office as an investigator. Those same time that you were there, I was investigating murders at Dorchester County Sheriff's Office. I was working those crimes. So if you're saying my experience is stale, speak to your 12 years, because that's a secondary response. But I don't believe that either one of us is super more qualified than the other. I do believe we both have qualifications. We have different visions. Thank you.
Next question is for you again, Mr. Turner. You touched on this a little bit earlier, but what trends do you notice in crime in Dorchester County, and what specific action would you take to combat the types of crime that are on the rise?
Well, as you look around, crime throughout the country, particularly in Dorchester County, is combined around substance abuse and mental health issues. There are those who treat their mental health issues with illegal or legal substances. That's why we have the amount of homelessness we have. They're not truly homeless. They choose to live that way because of mental health issues. So if that's what we have in our community, as you look around, doesn't matter where you go, they live in the woods, next to neighborhoods, you see them all the time panhandling. they are living through their mental illness and their substance abuse. We're an addicted society, let's face it. That's why we have so many fentanyl deaths in our country. But the reality is the only way to combat that is if you find someone who is going through those issues, you seek help for them. Sometimes that help comes from detox. Sometimes it comes from the mental health organization literally treating whatever their mental health illness is. And you do have to have places to take these people to get them off the street. Sometimes they return to where they came from. That is a habit that usually takes about 8 trips in and out before the cycle is broken, if it's ever broken. So the difference is you don't just let them aggressively panhandle citizens out there. You actually go up and try to find out, what can we do to help you? Because you are a citizen of our county. Even if you don't pay taxes and you don't own property, if you live here, even if you're living on somebody's doorstep, you're a citizen of this county. And you deserve dignity and respect. You deserve to be helped by the people who can bring help to you or take you to help. So the difference is going to be engaging those people, see if you can voluntarily get them some help before it becomes a criminal action, before they assault somebody, before they assault whoever it is they're, cohabitating in the woods with. But let's be honest, if you look around, it is everywhere. It is not being dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with.
Mr. Richardson, same question.
So we've got some, and just because I know the trends, we've got some issues with car break-ins. We've got citizens that want to leave the doors open at night. And that's a concern for us because we got citizens that do that with guns in their vehicles, right? I discussed this with my staff. We talk about it at community meetings, trying to get people to work with us on that. And that's a tough thing to do, because we got other kids that come around, they take those items from the cars. When we talk about mental health is an issue that's plagued us for a while. That's the paradigm that's changed in law enforcement. We have an embedded mental health clinician, though. That's something that we have right now. She comes in, she analyzes our casework every day. She goes through all of our reports. She's been a success story. She's been able to help our citizens that when those reports come in, she's been in there to offer some other solutions that we wouldn't ordinarily have. So she's been a blessing to us in that respect. When we talk about, Mike brought up the homeless. Well, guess what we do? If you're in Dorchester County in the sheriff's office, then you know about extending branches, that we track the homeless, that we have a relationship with them, that we do that because we want to make sure that we don't have any undesirables, and we know who's there from any place else, any wanted felons or anything in those encampments. They also move a lot. So we want to make sure that, number one, they're no threat to any one of the citizens, but we have to know, we have to track them. So in our weekly meetings, my staff will tell you, I beat them up about where they are, what are we doing, what solutions do we have in place with them. But that's not something that we have to develop. We have that in place. So when we talk about crime trends, we deal with that every day. And we make deployment decisions based on what's going on and based on the feedback that we get from our citizens. That's what I mean when I talk about my intelligence-based model and my community-based model working hand in hand. Because we've had those success stories, and we wouldn't be where we are without the community engagement that we have. I'm really proud of that. And I think we have some Citizens Academy graduates throughout sometimes. I don't know if we have one in here tonight, but they've been blessings to us because they've given us valuable feedback. The sheriff's office is only as good as the support we get from our citizens. Thank you.
Mr. Richard, the next question starts with you. What is your stance on red flag laws, and if ever enacted at the federal or state level, would you choose to enforce them?
Yes. If they're enacted at the state and local level, I think the best thing that I can do, as I made my promise, is to make sure that they're constitutionally sound and they don't violate the rights of our citizens. So that's the first thing I need to do as sheriff, to make sure that anything doesn't impede upon the rights of my citizens. So that's my stance on that.
Mr. Turner, same question.
It's easy to say red flag laws, but if you're talking about someone who can anonymously decide to take away your Second Amendment right it is on its face unconstitutional. We are allowed to confront our accusers. That is the basis of our legal system. So the anonymous reporting that you or something is seriously wrong with you and you don't need to have a firearm, that's unconstitutional on its face. Now, if it is enacted so that there is a way for this person to report it, and before a weapon is taken, that right is taken, there can be a due process hearing, that's different. But the way most of these laws are written throughout the country are, someone can report anonymously, like your neighbor who's mad at you because you cut an inch over on their lawn and you have a lot of guns. Next thing you know, law enforcement showing up on a legally enacted by the government law that says you can't have your firearms anymore. I do not agree with that. If it is an opportunity to face your accuser and you were given due process, and if it is determined that you were a threat to yourself or someone else, that's different. But the way most red flag laws are written, that opportunity is not given, at least not on the front end.
Nick? Next question, Mr. Turner, starts with you as well. Would you allow federal law enforcement agencies to use the county jail to hold those arrested for immigration crimes? And if so, will you expand the spaces available so the federal agencies don't have to transport those arrested to other jurisdictions to book them?
Well, I have no issues with a detainee or an arrestee from someone else's jurisdiction being housed in that jail. It is obviously more convenient for the federal government if they have somebody who is taken into custody for whatever reason and legally housed in Dorchester County's detention center. Let's just be honest, that was built by tax dollars, both state and federal. So the opportunity to allow them to use it, yes. If they want to expand it so they have more space, then the federal government needs to write that check. I have no issues with using bed space that's available. But if they want more bed space, then the federal government needs to come up with the money to do that.
You want me to repeat it, Mr. Richardson, or you got it?
Please.
Would you allow federal law enforcement agencies to use the county jail to hold those arrested for immigration crimes? And if so, will you expand the spaces available so those federal agencies don't have to transport arrestees to other jurisdictions to book them?
So the answer is, we have allowed them to use our jail before, but they fund us. They pay us. And that's the trick. We make money out of that. So, I mean, it's not at the taxpayer expense in Dorchester County. We ensure that. Now, as far as expanding our jail because of the federal need, the answer is no. We got to make sure that we take care of, listen, your loved ones may be in that jail. So my first priority is to the citizens of Dorchester County. So if that need comes up where and we're there, we're close, where we're going to need to expand that jail pretty soon because we're at peak capacity most days. So that's here now, but that's not because of the federal situation. That's because of the needs of our Dorchester County citizens, which always come first. Thank you.
Next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Richardson. In the case of civil unrest or riots such as what occurred on King Street in Charleston in 2020, will you move in to safeguard life and property even if a municipality fails to request assistance or even request you not intervene?
Absolutely. As the chief law enforcement officer, that's my job. And what we did in 2020 was we had a posture that was so aggressive that, you know, the people that marched here, they said, whoa, these people in Dorchester County, they're not messing around. You know, we had the FBI here. We had a couple of Bearcats lined up. But the biggest thing we were able to do is when they saw that, they wanted to negotiate with us. So we said, you know, our mantra was not here, not now, not in Dorchester County. So not on my watch. Amen.
Mr. Turner, would you like me to repeat the question? Please. In the case of civil unrest or riots such as what occurred on King Street in Charleston in 2020, will you move in to safeguard life and property even if a municipality fails to request your assistance or even request you not intervene?
Absolutely. It is the responsibility of the chief law enforcement of the county to protect life and property. I was downtown during those riots. I was on my campus. I was working. I had my entire shifts down there. It just so happened that 2 of the Charleston County SWAT teams were sitting outside my front gate. But they were there because when they shifted from CPD being in charge to Charleston County Sheriff's Office, and a resident of Dorchester County was the command officer at that time, he moved the Bearcats and they cleaned out King Street. CPD did not act in time. I can tell you this, they did not come towards my campus. It was because I had a full complement there, and it didn't hurt to have 2 SWAT teams sitting out front. But my point is, I was down there when it happened. I went to King Street. So when you wait and you allow them the mindset of give them this room, let them do what they want to do, is wrong, because you can't give enough ground before they destroy it. And unfortunately, King Street will never be the same again because of the damage that was done. But no, I would not allow them just to do whatever they want to do. I wouldn't allow them to torch cruisers while law enforcement stands there. Thank you.
Because we're doing pretty good on time, just like we were in the last debate, I'm going to go ahead and expand closing statements to 3 minutes. Mr. Turner, we'll begin with you.
Well, again, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that came out. It gave me and Sam an opportunity to express what our vision is for Dorchester County, and ours is a little bit differently. I rely on a tried and true policing model. I think it worked when I was there. It works where I'm at now. It'll work again. As a matter of fact, 2 local agencies have been highlighted in broadcast media lately for their community-oriented policing programs. It works. It's very successful. I understand what intelligence-based policing is, which is a little bit different than what initially he had said he wanted to do was predictive policing. That does not work. I am not in favor of predictive policing. Using an algorithm to decide law enforcement decisions is not a good plan. It comes up with a lot of decisions, none of them good. Community-based policing is what I believe in and what I will bring to Dorchester County. I will open with a full staff. They will be certified officers. I took over an agency in 2018 that was chronically understaffed, at least 50%. It had been that way for 10 years. I brought it to full staff in less than 3 months. Certified police officers. I took them from Mount Pleasant. I took them from other agencies. Why? Because they wanted leadership. We didn't pay good at the time. I've got a brand new building. We're hurricane ready in the building. Never been like that before. And we have new equipment. But it is because of my relationship with my chain of command. I am an advocate for the officers to have a safe working environment, that they're treated fairly. They expect that. The deputies expect that. That's what they want. They will get that from me. They won't be initially decided as being wrong when a complaint comes in. You have to investigate a complaint. And they understand that because they investigate crime all the time. When they're not treated fairly, they don't stay. First, it will be fully staffed on day 1. 2, it will be completely transparent. You will know what's going on. Nothing is secret police stuff. If there's not a sex crime victim name on a report, an ongoing violent crime investigation, or an undercover narcotics investigation, that information, everything else is public record. And I forgot juvenile. Everything else is public record. You can come in and see it. You should be able to come in and look at the books. What did we spend on gas last month? What did we spend on vehicle repairs? How much did we purchase vehicles for? Is it available to the citizens 24 hours a day? It should be. You should be able to go online and pick it up. And finally, I will tell you this. If you elect me as your sheriff, I will protect your family as diligently as I protect mine. No exceptions, no excuses.
This is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to decide whether we want to move forward in our sheriff's office or move backwards. We have been diligent with your funds. We have a great relationship with our council. Can anybody tell me why? It's because we've been responsible. We have a great relationship with our legislative delegation. It's because we've been accountable. We have done all the things that we needed to do with these relationships to ensure that you're safe, that you're secure. We have to build new schools in Dorchester County all the time because people want to come live here. You know why? Because it's safe. It's safe. You know, we have to worry about infrastructure because it's safe. You know, I've known Mike for a long time, but what we're talking about here is a little bit of, you know, what he thinks, theories. What I'm dealing with is results. We have had results here, and I implore you to verify. I keep saying that. Everything that I'm telling you, verify what we've done. I'm really proud of it. We're accredited first time in our history. You know, his administration had a chance to do that. We took that by the horn and we did that. We built this jail. They needed that in their administration. We did that. We took your you know, I go back to the operations piece right there, and they were over budget, overtime, every budget cycle. Every budget cycle. But we've been able to stay within our budget and have good law enforcement and respect your hard-earned taxpayer money. That's important. That's important to hold people accountable. There were no checks and balances. There was unbridled overtime. People could do whatever they wanted to do. I mean, they could come in, put down that they worked this amount of time or that amount of time. So when Sheriff Knight took office, there was a lot of hostility because the sheriff started holding people accountable. He said, you're going to have checks and balances in place. It's taxpayer money, and you're going to earn that. And listen, I've got some deputies here. They can tell you that that's what happened. Now, when you take those things away from some guys, they're not going to be happy with that. But you know what? The sheriff's responsibility is to the taxpayer, to the citizen. And that's what we've been able to do. Now, what I want to do is moving us forward with our technology. We have state-of-the-art ability in our crime scene right now that I'm really proud of, where other agencies ask us for assistance right now. We have our aviation program right now with drones I mean, everybody asks us for assistance. SLED just asked us for assistance with that. Our canine program, they're asking us for assistance with that. Why did they do that? Because we have become a model agency that people can refer to and look up to. The sheriffs love us, the other sheriffs in the other areas, because we've been dependable in terms of our dependability to our citizens and to them. So I don't want to go backwards. I want you to go forward. Go with me on this journey. Thank you.